Coming up on NSEN. It was a beautiful weekend for sports in Tennessee. However, some of the outcomes were far from pretty, Vic.
Kneeling for a cause is definitely causing some commotion within the NFL, but can the protests influence high schools and colleges? Our debaters will talk about it.
And if you missed any games this weekend, we have your latest scores and highlights from your favorite sports teams.
All those stories and more. NSEN starts right now. Thank you for joining us. I'm Victor Benz.
And I'm Elijah Campbell. Welcome to NSEN. Joining us with your look into college sports, Darius Horton. Thanks for joining us, Darius.
Yes, thank you, Elijah. The MTSU Blue Raiders men's basketball team started practice yesterday. Last year, the Blue Raiders won the Conference USA, earned the 12th seed, and beat Big Ten opponent Minnesota, who was a 5 seed. Coach Davis believes that the team can work on chemistry by saying that we can improve and not to become a selfish team. The Blue Raiders' first basketball game is against Arkansas Fort Smith at the Murphy Center on November the 2nd. Tip-off time is still to be determined. Follow us at NSEN_MT10 to find out when the time is going to be announced. This week, the Middle Tennessee State Blue Raiders suffered a devastating loss with a score of 38-20 to Florida Atlantic University in Boca Raton, Florida this past Saturday. Backup quarterback John Urzua didn't have the best game of his life by throwing 3 interceptions, but he eclipsed over 300 yards, while Owls running back Devin Singletary ran for 133 yards and tied a school record for rushing touchdowns in a game with 4. MTSU will play Florida International this week for homecoming. Kickoff is set for 2 p.m. at Floyd Stadium. Today, MTSU track runner Jacob Chobe was named Conference USA Cross Country Male Athlete of the Week. While he's only in his sophomore year, this makes his 3rd Athlete of the Week honor. He also was named the conference's Athlete of the Year last season and looks to hold that statement true. Chogue and the Raiders' next race will take place in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, in the Crimson Classic on October 13th, hosted by Alabama. Over the weekend, many Tennessee teams went on a victory drought, but one team did manage to secure a win. The MTSU Lady Raiders softball team hosted the Columbia State Chargers in their 2nd home game over the weekend with a nice crowd present. The Lady Raiders jumped to a quick lead with a big play from Precious Birdsong and freshman Summer Burgess. The Chargers tried to make a comeback, but were struck out. The Raiders went on to hold a 9-0 lead to advance to a 4-game win streak. They will try to continue their streak against Vol State this Sunday. The term student athlete means you not only apply yourself on the field, but in the classroom as well. The Eastern and National Fast Pitch Coaches Association honored MTSU's softball team for earning the 4th highest GPA in the nation amongst other D1 programs. Their 3.6 GPA between 2016 and 2017 got them this award. Eastern and the NFCA will also release their list of individual All-American Scholar athletes next week. This past weekend, the Tennessee Volunteers were decimated by the Georgia Bulldogs 41-0. Fans are questioning who's to blame for this loss in Neyland Stadium. Is it Quentin Dormady or is it Bush Jones? Dormady went 5 of 16 with 2 interceptions, but fans question some of the play calling that Bush Jones and the coaching staff used. Fans are so outraged at Jones that they spray painted Fire Butch now. Jones is most definitely in a hot seat after the tough last-second loss at Florida and their most recent loss to Georgia at home. That's all I have for college sports right now. Back to you guys at the desk, Elijah and Vic.
Thanks, Darius. Well, Vic, we had a big weekend in sports, so let's jump right into the action, starting with that public execution in Knoxville.
Good.
And spoiler alert, it wasn't pretty.
Go ahead, roll the tape.
Starting here, Jacob Fromm back to pass, looks for Javon Wims in the end zone, 12-yard touchdown catch, makes it 10-0, and it's only downhill from here. Jacob Fromm threw for 84 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, but ran for 2 rushing touchdowns. One, which you will see him take pay dirt right here to make it 17-0 Georgia. But wait, Vic, it gets worse. It gets a whole lot worse. Starting for Tennessee was Quentin Dormady, and on a day where Peyton Manning was honored at halftime, didn't do his greatest Peyton Manning impersonation. Check out this pass right here. Dormady catches the snap, back to pass, looks at the receiver downfield, and is that bad?
It's not pretty.
It's not pretty. Intercepted by Georgia's J.R. Reed, takes it back 34 yards, and that makes it still 17-0 Georgia. Georgia gets the ball right back, and they do exactly what you expect them to, as Jake from State Farm scores from 4 yards out to make it a 24-0 beatdown. And this is before halftime is even underway.
Before halftime?
Before halftime. And then Sony Michel, to add insult to injury, takes the run 21 yards to the promised land to make it 31-0. Michel also ran for that touchdown, as well as 64 yards, 5.8 per carry. Your final score on that one was 41-0, and it was the worst loss at home in Neyland Stadium since 1906.
I don't think I was born yet.
I don't think I was either. I don't think a lot of people in this building were.
Well, Elijah, let's keep it in SEC country for this next game. Vanderbilt traveled down to the swamp to take on Florida. As you see their head coach, Jim McCloughan, getting ready for this big game. First play that we have here in the first, Jermichael Piron runs in for the 1 yard touchdown. He looks up to the crowd, trying to turn some up. They're already pretty hyped. Then, Vanderbilt on the next drive, we got Kyle Shermer with a tough pass down to Kalijah Lipscomb for the 13-yard TD pass. Then Florida, they're not done either, with passing it off to 22, LaMichael Piron for another touchdown. As he flips, turns, does everything he can to get into that end zone. Once again, Florida Gator fans are on their feet. But before the half is over with, Vanderbilt says, let's tie this bad boy up. Shermer on the run throws to Caleb Pierce, the redshirt sophomore, to tie it up before the half. Both teams score a field goal to tie it up at 17. Then, who's that man again? Malik Davis, runs in for the 1 yard touchdown to put them up. Vanderbilt, they're not done though. They pass it off. Sherman passes it off to Nathan Marcus, the tight end. So we got a bit of a ball game here coming towards the end of the fourth, Elijah. But until Malik Davis says, you know what, I've had enough of this. Let's ice the game. He runs in for the game-deciding touchdown that sends Florida into a frenzy. The swamp is going crazy as the rain starts to pour down. And it was a good game for Florida there at the end.
Puts Florida up to 3-0 in the SEC and puts them first in the SEC East. And it looks like the only team really in their way is number 7 Georgia, especially after what they did to Tennessee. But still ahead on NSEN, reporter Camden Gathright will take you inside the world of high school sports to give us the latest scores from around the state of Tennessee.
Also, Atlanta Braves general manager John Capella resigned Monday morning. Pro Sports reporter Calvin Smith has the full scoop, so stay with us.
Here. Why should you include avocados as part of your family's balanced diet? It's as simple as 1, 2, 3. Number 1. Avocados fill you up. Avocados contain unsaturated fats, good fats your body needs to help with the absorption of key nutrients.
Me hungry right now.
Number 2.
Avocados are good for you.
Avocados are naturally cholesterol and sodium free, plus they contain nearly 20 vitamins and nutrients.
Me need vitamins and nutrients, and number 3, avocado delicious.
Try avocados in place of ingredients higher in saturated fat. Avocados taste great in sandwiches, salads, and even in baked goods like cookies.
Avocado cookies? This match made in heaven.
This is your new kitten, or your new puppy. Every day, 70,000 puppies and kittens just like them are born in the U.S. Cute, right? Well, what's not cute is that half of all litters are accidents. And when a kitten has a litter of oopsies and a puppy has a litter of uh-ohs, pretty soon you have thousands and thousands of OMGs. And that leads to millions of pets being killed in shelters each year. But if 80% of pet owners say they believe in spaying and neutering, then what gives? Well, it turns out those sweet little fuzzballs can get pregnant sooner than you think. A lot sooner. But here's the good news. You can stop the accident before it happens. You just have to remember one number. 4, as in 4 months. When you bring home Maggie or Ruby or Puddle or Clyde, get them fixed at 4 months. It can be old enough to get pregnant, and it's definitely young enough to make a difference. Prevent more, fix at month 4.
Welcome back to NSEN. Well, Vic, the colleges and pros weren't the only ones on the gridiron this weekend, as we had some high school football action on Friday night as well.
Yes, I definitely love me some high school sports. So let's kick it over to our high school sports analyst, Cameron Gaffray, with the Friday Night Lights report.
Thanks, Vic. Big news out of Blackman High School. The number 3 running back in Tennessee and Ohio State commit Master Teague may miss the rest of the season with an ankle injury. He suffered the injury in a 42-21 loss to rival Oakland High School. He is scheduled to have surgery Wednesday. In 4 games this season, Teague has rushed for 709 yards and 11 touchdowns. With the season in full effect, the Blaze hope Teague can come back for the playoffs. A big-time matchup between some Rebels and Patriots. Oakland High Patriots will head to Franklin, Tennessee to play the Franklin High Rebels. It's going to be a big fight between 1 and 6 Rebels as they face the undefeated Patriots. Patriots playmaker receiver Jaron Rooks hope to continue the 6-game winning streak with his 624 yards. Rooks is considered playing at MTSU for his college career. Let's see if Oakland can keep the undefeated record going or if the Rebels can fight back and shock the county. Another top recruit has gone down with the injury bug. Riverdale star defensive tackle and Tennessee Vol commit DeAndre Lideker is out for the season with a torn ACL. This is not the first time Lideker has had this injury. In his junior year, he tore his ACL in his left knee after only playing 10 snaps. Lideker will end his senior season with 12 tackles and half a sack. Well, that's all that we have for this week's high school action. Back to you guys at the desk.
Appreciate that, Camden. Coming up next on NSEN, to kneel or not to kneel? That's the question. Our debaters will answer that for us when we come back.
And still to come, who do we think will pull off wins next week? We'll have some pick'ems. Don't change that channel.
Everyone. Future homeowner partners with Habitat for Humanity to build or improve a home. They build a better future for themselves and their families.
For my family.
Para po sa pamilya ko.
Por mi familia.
With a little help, we all have the potential to stand on our own. Through shelter, we empower. Visit habitat.org to provide help to families like these today.
Time is the one thing that we want more of as a St. Jude parent. Without the donors, I wouldn't have my Audrey.
El que St. Jude no cobra ni un centavo para nosotros significa quitarnos todo ese estrés, esa preocupación y podernos enfocar en nuestra hija.
That was the first thing I was like, how are we going to do this? When they told us that we didn't have to pay a single bill, I was like, wow. They pretty much have saved us.
They take care of our housing. They take care of our food. In addition to the best medical treatment that my daughter could ever have. So it allows me to focus on my daughter and getting her better.
Your seat cushion can be used to grant wishes.
Who said that? Hello?
Really can, you know.
You talking to me?
Sure am. Because the airline miles you earn and donate to Make-A-Wish can help send thousands of kids on their wish trips. So donate to Make-A-Wish today.
You really should, you know. You really should.
And give wishes wings. Because wishes work wonders.
Welcome back to NSEN. I'm Kiera Chambers, your debating moderator for the evening. Joining me today are debaters Kendrick Williams and in the studio Xavier Dupree. Now, we have a good one, so let's not waste any time and let's get to the debate that we have been trying to talk about forever, and that's the Kaepernick protests that have taken place in the NFL that's brought up different topics as heated debates and is already spread into some colleges and into some high schools.
I am in favor of the NFL posting the national anthem because of our First Amendment. Standing while locking arms symbolize unity because the players believe in the same rights. Fists in the air show everyone is against police brutality. Taking a knee means that people of color are not treated as equally as others.
What do you have to say about this, Xavier?
I also feel like
I definitely believe that the players should be protesting because it brings out the awareness to unarmed people of color being killed. It's their constitutional right. It shows unity. It shows ownership. So basically, everybody wouldn't have like the same. They would have the same viewpoint, but
how is this affecting? Because it's becoming now localized in colleges, and now, like last weekend, a high school kneeled. The whole entire team kneeled at their game. How is this affecting us locally, as Tennessee is a Bible Belt and a Republican state? Do you think that this can affect? Is this affecting us? Is this becoming a bigger issue than what we think it is?
I definitely think it's becoming a bigger issue because it started with the NFL. It'll definitely move on to college. It'll definitely move on to high school. It'll definitely move on to the people at military schools. It might even move to elementary schools, and the problem will become bigger than what we think it is.
All right, Xavier, what is your thoughts on this type of issue?
I feel like the protest is for a good cause. You know, the protest started with Colin Kaepernick last season, with him realizing the social and racial injustice that was going on in the United States. This year, the protests have ratcheted up with the remarks that President Trump made about the NFL and their players, about them taking the knee during the national anthem. I feel like, as far as the NFL goes, that the kneeling and the protest during the national anthem has taken a turn, and we've kind of forgotten why Colin Kaepernick started doing what he's doing. He started kneeling because of the social and racial injustice that was going on in the United States. And I think that players have lost that, and they're only thinking about what President Trump called them, and now they're speaking out and they're protesting President Trump instead of protesting the social and racial issues that we have going on in the country.
So you're basically saying that the issue has become medialized and is taken away from the serious topic that Kaepernick was trying to bring about, which about equality amongst sports. So what ways do you think that it could come back to the original issue?
Just as maybe Colin coming back and speaking up and making sure, okay, that everybody realizes, you know, the man is out of a job. Like, he lost his job. He's not a quarterback right now, mainly because of this. People don't want to say that's why he doesn't have a job, but he doesn't have a job because of his stance that he's taken on this issue. So maybe for him, or even other players that feel the same way that he does, that still playing in the NFL, to come out and say, look, I understand what President Trump said, but we also have to realize that that's just a small, minute factor in what the bigger picture is. The bigger picture is the social and racial injustice in the U.S.
All right, Kendrick. So, what do you think? Do you think is going to transition from more than just kneeling for these protests and for these issues?
I definitely think it will, because since it has surfaced from the NFL, it would definitely take its toll on the other levels of sports, as far as the pros, high school, middle school, elementary.
Well, that's all we have for today. Still ahead, pro sports reporter Calvin Smith will fill us in on the latest news on the world of professional sports. So don't leave us just yet.
I never imagined this would be your first home.
I feel powerless. I can't stop asking, why us?
I just want to hug and kiss you and never let go.
This is the hardest thing we've ever faced. I know it's even harder on you.
You are my little fighter. We're here with you.
I believe in you. Just 4 simple words. But to a child in need, they mean the world. When you support a child through Save the Children, you're saying, I believe in you. Visit sponsor.savethechildren.org/believe today.
We cure 80% of children with cancer. If you think about that, I mean, go back 50 years, we were curing 20 to 30%. This is the miracle story of modern medicine. There's one thing we're focused on here at St. Jude, and that's beating this thing.
To pose, now sure. She makes the sun see, makes me deep in the North Sea.
You know, Elijah, this is one of my favorite times of the year for pro sports. You know, we got MLB getting into the postseason. NFL just starting to really get, into the season, really.
Right.
Then we got NBA and NHL preseason starting up, so it's like, get a little bit of everything.
I know everything's starting to come. Everything's starting to start up again, and things are getting in swing.
In swing.
I like the in swing. See what I did there, especially with playoffs. Playoff baseball starting tonight, actually. And for more for pro sports, we'll kick it over to Calvin Smith. Calvin.
Thanks, guys. October is upon us, and the MLB postseason kicks off tonight with the New York Yankees facing the Minnesota Twins. Then the Nolan Arenado-led Rockies play the Diamondbacks tomorrow in the second wild card game. Then the division series kicks off this Thursday when the Boston Red Sox face the Houston Astros after playing each other last weekend. With the best collection of teams in the postseason, this October is shaping up to be one of the best in recent memory for baseball. The NFL has stacked up quite the list of injuries this week. Vikings, Raiders, and Titans fans endured a rough Sunday when star running back Dalvin Cook, quarterback Derek Carr, and quarterback Marcus Mariota each went down with injuries in losing efforts. Vikings head coach Mike Zimmer confirmed rookie running back Dalvin Cook is out for the season with a torn ACL. Raiders quarterback Derek Carr will miss anywhere from 2 to 6 weeks with a back injury, and Marcus Mariota is considered day-to-day after his pulled hamstring against the Texans. Speaking of the Texans, moving on to the Predators, this Thursday, the Predators kick off their season against the Boston Bruins. The Preds are coming off their shortest offseason in franchise history after their deep postseason run. But Coach Peter Laviolette believes his team is prepared to return to the Cup playoffs despite injuries to key stars like Kevin Fiala and Ryan Johansson. Both Fiala and Johansson are healthy and ready to go when the puck drops in Boston. Although the Preds leadership group changed with Roman Josi as captain, Smashville can still expect contributions from the same group of players who led the team last season. Although the Braves aren't in the postseason this year, the Braves fans will be on the edge of their seat for the next several weeks. Braves GM John Coppolello resigned Monday morning after the MLB began an investigation over possible international signing pool violations with top prospects. The Braves announced they are fully cooperating with Major League Baseball and began the search for a new general manager. Well, that's all for pro sports this week. Back to you guys.
Now, all that pro talk got me want to do something, Elijah.
And all that, the college highlight from earlier, the Tennessee beatdown, reminds us of another massacre of a Tennessee football team. Would you like to further this, Vic?
Unfortunately, I would like to.
All right,
let's take a look at the Titans and Texans game that took place this past week in Houston. First play here, we got Marcus Mariota throwing, of course, an interception pass to Andre Hale. Then later on in that drive, Deshaun Watson pitches it off to Lamar Miller for the 2-yard touchdown. Lamar Miller, of course.
Got me some fantasy points on that one.
Unfortunately. Then, of course, Deshaun Watson throws again, this time to DeAndre Hopkins. You know, what is he going to do? Get the ball off, make somebody's day out in the crowd. But Marcus Mariota says, I'm not going to go out like that. I got to do it myself. 40-yard run to the cribbo.
He's done that a lot this year.
He has done that a lot. Maybe he should work on his passing a little bit more. But, hey, anyway. Matter of fact, he liked it so much the first time, he's going to get it done the same way the next time. A 2-yard run to the crib as well, to the corner. But Deshaun Watson said, that looks so fun, let me try it myself. And I'm going to add one more. Let's jump in the crowd. Deshaun Watson, after the half, throws a pass over to
Will Fuller.
Yeah. Yes, that's Will Fuller right there. And then after that, it got pretty bad in the second half, to say the least. Deshaun Watson throws another pass to Lamar Miller.
Looking like he did in that championship game against Alabama, Vic.
Yeah. And then Matt Castle coming in, like Calvin said. Marcus Mariota ended up pulling his hamstring, so replacement came in, but he throws an interception as well. It got pretty bad at that point. I think James Harden scored, Tracy McGrady scored. Anybody who has anything to do with Houston got a touchdown.
Yeah, Chris Paul even scored a touchdown in that game. Mm-hmm. And it's funny, fun fact about that game, that was the only 57-14 final in NFL history. A bunch of y'all that didn't know that at home.
Very interesting.
Let's take it to Dallas with the surprising 2-1 Rams. Dak Prescott sets back to pass those to Ezekiel Elliott, who buffs his way into the end zone. Touchdown Ezekiel Elliott, and, as he usually does, eats his imaginary cereal with a napkin in hand.
I like the manners.
Wipes his face. Yeah, well, manners. Yeah, the NFL is changing for the good. Jared Goff drops back to pass. Cooper Kupp, his new favorite target. Touchdown to make it 17-13. The Rams are right back in this thing. Now, we're going to see a little bit of display of athleticism here from Todd Gurley. Todd Gurley, who's hurled a couple defenders this year, tries right here. Doesn't necessarily get him, but it's fun to watch him try. He's a fun player to watch. Gurley had a great game with 121 rushing yards, 94 receiving yards, and a receiving touchdown. He just does it all. With this catch right here, taking it to the pay dirt, 53-yard touchdown catch, making Jared Goff look like Joe Montana here. Not something you see a lot from a running back, huh, Vic?
Not every week.
And an unsung hero for the Cowboys. Down 8, Dak Prescott finds Jack Hanna, who punches it in for the 28-yard touchdown catch. Now, however, the Cowboys do fail the 2-point conversion, so that's going to make them down a couple points. And here, unsung hero of this game, Greg Zuerlein. Greg, the leg, hit 7 for 7 field goals in this game, accounted for 21 points himself. Not a lot of time, not like many instances where we talk about kickers on this show. He gets a little shout out there.
One who had him on fantasy.
Definitely not me. And a little shades of Kevin Dyson here. Ezekiel Elliott falls 1 yard short to get the first down in the game. All right,
still ahead here on NSEN. We got a couple more debates coming up, Elijah. That should be fun.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. Got a couple more debates talking about MTSU football.
Let's see if they can get back on the rise this week for homecoming. We'll be right back.
Don't touch that dial.
Your Marine Corps' way of life is to defend the American way of life. Every day, we take a stand for our nation, for each other, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Idle hands. They say they're the devil's workshop. But give idle hands a place to go, a purpose, and they're capable of amazing things.
From Iraq and Afghanistan, our brave warriors are coming home, wounded. Some with wounds you can see, some with wounds you can't see. Wounded Warrior Project was created to support our men and women coming off the battlefield. Please help carry these warriors the rest of the way home. Get involved at woundedwarriorproject.org.
It started with the original care package and millions more like it, passed from hand to hand across land and sea to help survivors in the aftermath of war. As we grew, we found better ways to help those in need, ways to make a real difference, not just today, but tomorrow as well. Be the difference in people's lives. Help deliver lasting change at care.org.
Welcome back to NSEN. Kiara, I hate to say it, but our Blue Raiders football team has definitely seen better days.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. But the real question is, who really is at fault in this? Is it the players or the coaches? Also joining with us, we have David James in the studio. So what do you think is at fault for this?
Well, great coaches in sports like Bill Belichick are known for quotes like, "Do your job." But that shouldn't overshadow the fact of if they do theirs or not. Head coach Rick Stockstill and the Blue Raiders have made bowl game appearances but have lost. They played some big SEC teams and have lost. When will the time come that the program reevaluates itself and makes a transition?
So when you say reevaluate itself, do you think it's the coach itself? Is it because he's more focused on his son playing in the team?
I don't know how big of a part that plays, but I definitely think that their approach to games and their system needs to adjust.
And what parts do you think is the offense or the defense?
I would say offense. I have some stats that I plan on telling my friend David about pretty much about MTSU's program. I'm saying over the years their defense hasn't been the main issue.
All right. So what do you mean by it? Like what stats are you trying to say?
Okay. Well, ever since Rick Stockstill has been the head coach here at MTSU in 2006. There's only been five players to be drafted into the NFL, and all have been defensive players. So I would think that that's more on the offensive side to not get their players more exposure, or at least run a system that works to get those good players acknowledged as good players.
Yeah, because, I mean, just 2 players going into the draft, I mean, that's a lot of players and a lot of new people coming in. Then they just recruit. I know for a start, and they just recruited at least just 2-3 more players. So, David, what do you think is the problem with this? Do you think it's the coaches?
I don't think it's the coaches. I do think they have a big part in what is going on to be a part of the blame. But I also think you should also put part of the blame on the players. The players should have to contribute in order for us to win. You can't just throw interceptions. You can't just not guard your player. You have to catch the ball at least once, or make the winning touchdown catch.
But isn't it the coach's duty to get on their players, to make sure they're catching the ball, to make sure they're executing those plays?
Their job is to set the players up for success. With the NFL,
well, then the players should go out there and do their
knows
job.
The Super Bowl. In the Super Bowl, when the Redskins, not the Redskins, excuse me, but when the Patriots went against the Seahawks, everybody knows they should have ran the ball with Marshawn Lynch, but they decided to throw the ball. That's a coaching mistake. So in the situation when your head coach, when they can't even win against an in-state rival in Vandy, the last 3 matchups they've lost in 2015, 16, and this season they lost.
Because the offense couldn't make plays. Because the offensive line didn't do their job. The offense didn't do their job. The defense didn't do their job until late in the 4th quarter. They didn't make any stops whatsoever. They didn't do their job. So if people want players to go out in the real world, which is the NFL, and they don't do their job, they get fired, right? So why should the player?
But why keep them? But why keep them?
But hold on, one thing. This season, MTSU lost to Vandy, 28-6.
Yep.
Now, when you have a producing offense, you're putting up points. Now, in a game where last year in 2016, the score was 47-24. Now, 24 points, I would see that as your team can score, but they couldn't stop the other team from scoring more. But
So you blame the defense, correct?
no, I blame the coaches. Play calling. Even when they played WKU, which is an in-state rival as well. No, it's not in-state, but it's a rival.
Yes,
But even when they played WKU, you know, right now with their history of playing each other, they're slight even in wins. But as with Rick Stockstill as the head coach, you know, this year they're looking to really make it even. Right now, MTSU has the lead by like 1 win. And with him being the head coach, they're split like 5 wins or almost 6 wins apiece.
So what do you guys see for the upcoming game against FIU? What's going to be the prediction for that? Is it going to be the players' fault or is it going to be the coach's fault?
I feel like if the players don't do their job, this is a team that they can beat, which they should be, but it's all about how the play, like John Urzura, if he doesn't do what he has to do, which if you remember, he threw 3 picks last week.
He is a backup quarterback.
So what? He's playing right now. It doesn't matter.
As a head coach, it is your job to
It's his
maneuver
job
your way and
as
change
a
your
quarterback
offense.
to
Probably
make plays.
If the
If he's not
quarterback
making
does not
plays,
fix, if the
if he's not making
quarterback
plays,
does
then
not,
why start him?
if the player does not fit the system, you adjust. If your head coach cannot adjust to make you win games, whose fault is that? You can't blame the players.
The quarterback has been playing in 3 different games. They won in 2. One of them was with Brent starting, and the other one was with John. They can win with John. They've done it before. So why is it stopping them now? Like he throws a pick. He's thrown 3 picks.
Is not the same.
3
every team
picks
that they face is not
But then
the
again,
same.
I can see where he's coming from because, the coach can do what the coach has to do. He can set the game plan. He gives them exactly what to follow. However, it's also the players' duties to execute that plan. And if they're not going to do it, then
but the thing is, you're talking about a backup quarterback. A lot of people.
All right, let me go with this then. Since there's 3 players on the wide receiver fronts, 2 of them are running backs that are leading the team in receptions. Running backs.
Coaching mistake right there. If they're running
your
backs,
wide receivers aren't doing their job.
If your
wide receivers aren't doing your jobs, then your wide receivers aren't doing their jobs? Why should they trust in
Maybe
their
it's
team?
the coaching. Maybe it's the system. And the thing that I was saying about the backup quarterback, a backup quarterback can get their first win. They can get a first win because when you put a backup quarterback in a situation against a team, they don't know how to prepare sometimes.
We don't even know if Brent's coming back,
capable.
so why?
After that first win,
look, guys, look. That's all the time we have for this debate, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how the rest of this season will pan out for the Blue Raiders. Coming up next, pick one you want, pick which one you love. We have pick'ems right after these messages. Stay with us.
There are those who dedicate themselves to a sense of honor, to a life of courage, and a commitment to something greater than themselves. They have always defended this nation and each other. They still do. The few, the proud, the Marines.
As a mother, you don't want to have to worry about this bill is coming, but then she needs this chemo. that's a decision you shouldn't have to make.
El que St. Jude no cobra ni un centavo para nosotros significa quitarnos todo ese estrés, esa preocupación y podernos enfocar en nuestra hija.
That was the first thing I was like, how are we going to do this? When St. Jude told us that we didn't have to pay a single bill, I was like, wow. They pretty much have saved us.
It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders, and now your focus is supporting this child.
There is not another hospital like St. Jude. The patient care is unmatchable. It saved my life. It saved my daughter's life. It saved our family.
Welcome back to NSEN. Vic,
Elijah.
It's that part of that show.
It is part of that show.
It's time for pick'ems, baby. Let's
Pick'ems.
pick
Let's
some
go.
football games.
Let's
And
go.
joining us is Calvin Smith. Calvin, what do you think about Titans at Dolphins, especially now the Titans are possibly without Mariota? Calvin, what you think?
Well, the Dolphins are really struggling this year with Jay Cutler. And even though Matt Castle will be starting to quarterback for the Titans, probably, that's not been decided yet, I think I like the Titans in this one. I still like their run game against the Dolphins' defense, and I think they can still get it done against a fairly bad Dolphin offense.
That's fair. That's fair. Vic, what do you got?
Calvin, I'm going to have to agree with you. I'm not just saying that because I'm a Titans fan. I really do think, DeMarco Murray, he's been looking good so far. Even if Marcus Mariota is out, me personally, I think he's a tough guy. He's going to stay in. But even if he is out, I think DeMarco Murray is just going to put the team on his back and, tow that thing up the gut like he's been known to do so many years. So I still get the Titans.
All right, as much as I want to be a contrarian here and go with the Dolphins, I have a hard time picking a team that got shut out by the New Orleans Saints. It's one of the worst pass defenses in the NFL. And when Jay Cutler came to Miami, it was supposed to be, the Dolphins offense is going to get better because he's familiar with Adam Gase. In the last two games against the Jets and Saints, they've scored a combined 6 points, and those 6 points were scored in garbage time. With the pass rush, I like the Titans too.
Yeah, Cutler's cut.
Let's move on to Ravens at Raiders. Raiders definitely without Derek Carr, no question there. E.J. Manuel starting. Calvin, how do you see that going?
Well, I know for a fact the Raiders have looked bad all year. They lost Terrence West is filling in with Javorius Allen now. I'm not very confident in what Joe Flacco's doing at quarterback. Even though Derek Carr is going to be out, I still have to pick a team with Michael Crabtree and Amari Cooper and Marshawn Lynch. And Khalil Mack rushing off the edge, I think he's going to be able to get to Joe Flacco and create some pressure there. I'm going to stick with the Raiders to pull this one out against a struggling Ravens team.
Interesting, Calvin. Elijah, what you think?
This one's a tough one, and I'm not going to lie to you. I didn't make my pick until about 20 seconds ago. I like the Ravens just because of the uncertainty at quarterback for the Raiders. Even though Joe Flacco's had a terrible year and he's outside of winning a Super Bowl, he's really just a game manager. But having that stability is going to really benefit Baltimore playing against a team with no offensive certainty. We don't know how A.J. Manuel's going to run the offense. And so I just got to go with the Ravens, defense and all too.
Elijah, I know I'm the tiebreaker. I got to go with my man Calvin, though. Like he said, Carr being out is major, but, Crabtree, Lynch, they're going to step up their game, And Flacco, like y'all have said, he's just horrible. So he's too rocky for me, so I still get the Raiders.
Still going all right. One more pro game left. Packers at Cowboys, the NFL game of the week. Who are you rolling with, Calvin?
I don't think I'll ever pick against Aaron Rodgers against a secondary as bad as the Cowboys. I'm going with Aaron Rodgers and the Packers.
As much as it hurts me to say, I think I'm going to go with the Cowboys. Dak Prescott, they're going to bounce back from their last loss to the Rams pretty quickly. I still got the Cowboys.
Still got the faith in the Cowboys. I go Packers. I'm with Calvin on this one. I can't go against Aaron Rodgers. Discount double check, baby. One more. MTSU, Florida International, homecoming.
Homecoming.
Are we breaking the losing streak or not? Calvin, what do you think?
MTSU by a mile. I don't care who's playing quarterback, MTSU.
Too much school spirit. I'm going to have to go with MTSU.
Going to be a homer here and go MTSU as well. FIU's 2-0 in the conference with their wins or against teams with 1-9 combined records.
All right, guys. Thank you guys for joining us for Pick'ems and the whole show. I really appreciate it. And shout out to Rusty. Happy birthday to him.
Teleprompter man. Happy birthday, Rusty. This has been all for NSEN. Take it easy, Rutherford County. We'll see you next Tuesday.